In this series, we'll go through all the steps it takes to make a character in Blender. In the last video, we made the head. In this one, we'll make the body. Something like what you see on screen. Ready? Let's get started. Let's turn on our template again because we're going to use them. Go to Edit Mode, select these bottom edges. What we're going to do right now is we are going to extrude the neck and roughly block out the body section here. So we will E to extrude, pull this down. We're going to follow the sketch just enough so that way we can understand the geometry and construct it properly. So let's go to the front view. I want to make the neck wider. So let's scale it in the X. Okay, so you see I'm scaling in the X and it's growing from the center of the selection. That's not what we want. I want the middle, I want to grow out from this point that way. So our 3D cursor is in the middle here. So if we go to 3D cursor mode, we're going to scale around that. And now if we hit scale and X, you can see it goes out from this middle point. So let's shape that. Okay, that's good. We're going to extrude this again. Let's go from the front this time. E, Z, pull this down to the wide part right here. Scale X, get to around there. Check our side view. Scale Y to make it wider. GY to get this in place. It's pretty simple, just blocking it out. You can see we're not following there at all. It's okay, don't worry about it. We will make that later. Extrude, Z, come down to here, scale Y, oops, X. I always get my X and Y confused. G, X, did it again. G, Y. Sorry, scale Y. Scale Y, make it a little bit wider here. It's pretty good. You can see when I'm shaping all these things, it looks smoothed out. That's because I have my sub D turned on. You can turn it off so you can see the actual geometry you're working with. Okay, let's extrude again, hit Z to go a little bit down. And I think that's enough for now. Let's add our shoulder. So we need to create a little patch here where we will extrude out some geometry to create our deltoid. So we do that by adding some geometry. So let's see, hit an edge, Control R. We will shape the top of the shoulder, which we can see in the sketch. About there, that's fine. Now we need to add a cut where the armpit starts. I think it's around there. I see here that this rib cage overlaps the arm, and that's going to cause problems later on when you're animating or rigging. So let's pull this in so it doesn't overlap. So be about there. And we'll pull this one in a bit too. Okay, I think that's all right. And that's okay. Add some geometry here. And we will pick our little patch for her arm. So that's, oh, no. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Even though we're just blocking things out, just to help us see what we're doing as we're blocking, let's sculpt this a bit. So we want to get this to be a little bit more square-like. And I think I also want to pull it forward just a little bit. I'm not square-like. I want this to be a little more circular. So just a little bit of shaping. Okay, that's good enough. Now we will, let's see here. Yeah, that feels like the right place. E to extrude, pull it up, move this down. We will add some geometry here, Control R, and we will add this here. So this will be important because this loop will separate our arm from the body. And this will also, this is our pectoral muscle that goes into our deltoid muscle. So this here will be important to shape that deltoid, which is way down here. And it'll shape how it comes into the pectoral. Okay. So that's good. Let's make this arm a little more arm-like. So loop tools, circle. Let's rotate it. Oh, let's rotate it around the center, its own center, and just let's turn off this proportional editing and make it a little bit more square. We'll scale it in a little bit and move it out a little bit. I just don't want this overlapping. Okay, so we're too far out now. We can rotate this. Let's just get this more in place. So now we're shaping our deltoid a bit. Okay. Okay, I think that'll be enough. This pectoral looks a little bit funny, so let's just pull it down a bit. When you if I haven't already told you, but when you double hit G, it moves the geometry I've selected along the lines of the current mesh. And it's a great way to just quickly move things around. Okay. Okay, so we've got our pectoral geometry there, we've got our deltoid geometry there. I think we can add, let's smooth it out a little bit. So sculpt mode. And I'm just smoothing it just so I can see what's going on. So if you hit smooth here, drop this down to 0.1 and just smooth it out. Nice and smooth. And again, this is just so we can help ourselves make our geometry elastic to shape things just a touch. You could easily just sit here and do this forever because it's sculpting like this is just really fun. But let's not do it too much so we don't waste your time. Usually I spend a lot longer on this because I'm just wasting my time. Okay, back to edit mode. Okay, I think this, whoops. Yeah, I think that's good. So the clavicle goes from the center over to the top of the shoulder. So we're going to use our loop cut tool to add some geometry. So go to edge mode, Control R, and so she doesn't have a clavicle on her back because she's not an alien. So that doesn't work. So let's stop our loop cut by deleting some geometry. I'm gonna actually delete all this and loop cut. Okay. Now she has a human clavicle. Let's fill this up here. No, so I want this to come over here. so our flow is better. And I think we need geometry here to round out the top of the shoulder. So that's going to be better. And then we will link it to the shoulder like that. Then we just need to close this hole up. And I think we need, actually we also need some geometry here. So let's move this down to shape, I guess, the little nook behind the clavicle, the collarbone. So I think that'll work. And then, let's see. Oh, okay, I think that kind of works. So pull that up. That links over there. Yeah, I think that's good. We need to shape the middle of the collarbones. There's a little nook in between the two of them here. So let's add some geometry in the front of this. And I think, yeah. So this is, I don't want to do that because I don't want to add too much. I don't want to add more geometry to the face. I think the face is pretty good. So again, let's delete a face. Edge mode, Control R. We add in some geometry and stop it right there. And then we can move things down to shape that little nook. Yeah, I think that's nice. Oops. I don't know, you tell me what happens with you guys, but I always get my X and Y mixed up. If I want to move it to the middle, I usually hit the wrong way and I say oops over and over again. It's really irritating. Is it irritating to you? Okay, so that's, oh, that's pretty big. Let's make this smaller. For the neck, I like to build the sternocleidomastoid, or the neck muscle. And I also like to have a loop coming through, straight through the neck, so I can build a choker, or usually I'll 3D print these models, and I'll cut the head off and print the head separately. So I like to have that. That's just me, but that's how I'm going to build this. So here we go. So the neck muscle starts here, and it goes up to just behind the ear. So let's delete that. And we'll delete all this stuff in between. Delete this too. Go to edge mode and connect the center of the clavicle to behind the ear. Oh, okay. It's Blender does not know what I want. It's twisting the wrong way. Okay, so we will extrude this, rotate it around the Z, kind of get this to where I think it should be, but still in line with this loop-ish. And let's attach. Okay, so we've roughly got, we're going to need some more geometry up here. This is not enough, but this puts down the foundation for what I want. And now we just have to close this all up. So I know I want this loop running through the neck. So let's just add that so I know we have it. And let's start closing up these holes. I think we need some geometry back here. So we've got good flex, and I think here also. And then let's use our F2 tool, which I love. Okay. Okay, so this probably will stretch poorly it's too skewed. So let's delete that. And we'll add something more like that. I think that'll animate better. Okay, that's good for that section. Let's delete this face and figure out how to close this hole up. We've got a bunch down here and one up there, so I don't know how that's going to work, but let's just hit F and see what happens. Okay, I got a little triangle here. It's probably okay, but well, it bugs me. So maybe we can add a cut there. Ah, there. Okay. This is a little bit, it's a little bit big. But I think we have enough geometry that we can just scooch things around and we should have a nice even flow. Yeah, I think that's good. I'm trying to think of how this is going to all bend when she's moving her arms up, and I think it'll bend okay. Okay, let's close up this front of the neck. So, wow, that's a lot of ground to cover. So let's just add in what we know we want. So we'll go to Edge, click that, and that, close it, because we know we want that. I also know we want that loop to run through the neck so we can cut the head off or make a turtleneck. And I think adding a little geometry there is good. And let's close up this big hole here, so let's add a couple edges there, and I think there's an Adam's apple here, so I think if we get the flow to kind of come in a U shape, that'll be good. You don't typically see a pronounced Adam's apple in a woman, but it's there, so it's okay to use it to build. So let's get that. And let's see what happens if we close this. Ah, that sucks. Okay, so we will add, let's see here, add some more geometry, and then see what happens. Well, that sucks. Okay, let's add some more geometry. Get that. That. Okay, it's so choppy I can't even see it. Let's just smooth this out a little bit so we can see if this is okay. It's kind of, well, so the neck, sternomastoid, the sternocleidomastoid's okay. The back of the neck's okay. This part is okay. We've got the choker, that's okay. It's just this middle area here I'm not so sure about. It's stretching a little bit much here. Well, okay, that feels better. Okay, this feels better. Smooth it again. I don't have a sketch of the back view, but I did prepare this little image here so we can talk about strategy. So we want to define the bottom of the deltoid, and we want to also define the scapula. So let's get a loop going across, actually a loop right at the bottom of the deltoid, and a loop showing the scapula. So let's do that. So let's go to edit mode and edge mode, and let's add, well, first let's add some geometry to shape our shoulder, and then we'll add geometry to define the bottom of the deltoid, and we'll add some geometry there because we don't have enough. Okay, I don't want to put a line through the face or the front, so let's undo that and stop that loop cut by deleting a face, and let's recut it. And so now we just have the cut on the back. We will delete some faces here and replace it with polygons that go around. So delete, and let's pull these in. Go to F. Okay, now we have this loop running around to form the scapula. We have this to form the bottom of the deltoid. And let's close this up. Okay, that's good. And this line can also define the bottom of the deltoid in the front and the pectorals. So I think that's good. Okay, let's hide this and let's make the rest of her torso area. So we'll go to edge mode, grab that, and we'll do some extruding. Extrude Z. I want to make a loop to define the pelvis area. So scale X, pull that out. Go to side view, GY to make that, sorry, scale Y and GY. Okay. Extrude Z, so we'll go down just a bit. We're going to extrude some surfaces here and then sculpt all of this to get it to shape properly. But let's get this roughly in place. Scale Y, GY. Okay. Then let's connect some edges. Oops. And F. And let's cut some edges. And scale it down. Move it down. And maybe cut it one time. Okay, so we've got this geometry here, and we're going to take a second just to shape it to follow the pelvic bone here, to come down to the crotch, and then we'll get a line coming around here to define, I guess the upper inner part of the buttock and down to the crotch. So let's go to sculpt mode, and let's get the, well, first let's go to edit mode and grab some points and just smooth them out. So right click and O, I think is smooth. Okay, just to blend it a bit. Kind of messes up. It's like we're not following as much anymore, but we'll just shape it back in place. So sculpt mode, elastic, and we'll just pull this. So now I'm pulling this. This is the I guess the middle part of the butt. So this is not the soft part, but this is the hard part in between the butt. So when we're shaping this from the side view, we're not following this sketch. We're kind of following where, like, I guess a bathing suit would be. So it's not going to follow exactly. It's a little bit inside. And then this one, we want to pull it, let's do this so we can see it. Pull this to where the pelvis bone is. So let's pull that up and round it up a bit. And then let's check the front view. Front view. So this wants to be a bit more like that. And then this can be a lot more. I always find it hard to get the pulling point, this little yellow dot, to go where you want to go. Let's pull that back in a bit. Okay, that's better. Let's so this gets narrower back here, so let's just pull that in. Back here gets narrower. Okay, something like that. We'll fix all this later. Again, we're just shaping it enough so that we can see where to add more geometry. Okay, now let's form our butt. So basically we want to draw some geometry to create this shape here. So let's do that. So we are going to start this butt a little bit higher up. So let's do this. Let's move that down a bit, and we'll cut this here and move it in a little bit, and we'll start it right here. Nope. Start it here. Okay. So let's kind of, I'm looking at that red line. What's a butt shaped like? Okay. Kind of like that. Then it kind of goes up. And this should also go forward. Okay. Then maybe one more. Scale it, rotate it. And then let's hide a reference. Then let's attach this somewhere. So I want to have a loop running all the way down the leg. So let's attach it to here. So this way this can still continue down. Okay. And then let's shape this a little bit. So it's kind of pops out. It's kind of softer here, and this shouldn't be an S curve. It should be more even. Oh, and the fleshy part of the butt actually sticks out past the middle, where there's less fat and muscle. So we'll pop that out a bit. You know, we can probably follow our sketch. Oh yeah, okay. So let's grab the butt and pull it out. So I'm not leaving the middle. I'm leaving the middle. I'm just pulling the fleshy part out. Okay. Let's match our front view too. Okay, it's not too bad. And we're just building our geometry. We're going to make this all look good. When we get to our artistic part where we sculpt everything, it looks like an owl. Let's close up this area here. So let's see here. What can we do? I think we want to have a line following this upper edge of the buttock. So let's create that with our F2. Okay, and then let's see how we can close this up. Feels like we need more geometry there. Yeah, I think that's okay. So let's smooth this out a bit. And we'll sculpt this later. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's check the flow. That's pretty good. 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 Okay, let's close up the front of her leg. And we also need to think about how this is going to transition to the leg and bend. And I think what I want to do is I want to have these loops go in a full circle around the front, and we'll have that start the bottom of the leg. So let's go edge mode and select some. Extrude, scale in a little bit, move it out a little bit, and this bottom part is going to go into, that's going to start the leg, and this part here will go out. And let's use the 3D cursor to put this line. I want this line here to match that line. So let's use the 3D cursor for that. So first we will change to transform around the 3D cursor. We will turn on these snaps. So any operation we do snaps to, in this case we have points. You could do it edges or faces or volumes, but I'm going to snap to points. Now when you hold shift and you right click drag, you can move your 3D cursor wherever you want. because I have the snaps turned on, it snaps to any vertices. So I've snapped there. Turn this back on, off. Now when I rotate this, it rotates it around that point. So it's pretty useful. And hit F to close that up. If you want to put the 3D cursor back to the middle, just do Shift S and 1, and it goes back to the middle. Okay. 3D cursor is a great tool. If you want to see a tutorial about that, let me know. Otherwise, there's tons of good tutorials on that you can find on the web. So let's close this up some more. I also want to make sure that when we extrude the leg, we don't have too much geometry. Ooh, sorry, extrude Z. So let's see how much geometry we have. Statistics, edges, we have 18. So that's a little bit much for this level of density for my mesh. So let's reduce this amount of edges. And we will do that by extruding. Oops. These down and closing that hole up. Whoops. Okay, now how many do we have? 16. Still a little bit much. So let's do it again. Extrude and F. We should have 14. Yep, 14. And that is okay. Okay, so she looks really, funny and blocky and not well done yet, but we have enough geometry to sculpt this into shape. And first I'm going to, well, I'll sculpt this a little bit first. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, I didn't close that. Okay. And edit sculpt mode. Shape that. Well, now that I've closed that, I wonder if we have enough geometry. Yeah, 12 is good. Okay, so let's make this a little bit more round. God, I can never get this to mouse over the point that I want. Anybody else have that problem? That's just me. And let's see, I've got that loop. I'll have to pull this all up there. That's good. Let's see if we've got any twisting. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, so I think that's looking pretty good. So let's extrude our leg. Extrude Z, scale Z, 0, G, Z, and yeah, so now I think we've got a good foundation for the leg. Let's add some geometry to form her rib cage. So I'm gonna do this a little differently. What I'm going to do is go to X-ray and K to cut, and I'm just gonna, it's a little weird because I can't tell which is in front or in back, but Blender can tell, so it only snaps to what's in front. And I'm just gonna roughly draw that rib cage, and then just kind of fades out. So I'm gonna stop it there. And then cut a few more. And then I think the rib cages kind of come up a bit in the back. So we'll just come up a bit in the back. Okay. Then we'll cut. So this will just allow us to make a little concave there. Okay. Pectoral, that can define the ribs. Okay, I think this is a good amount of geometry for the torso. Oh, she needs a chest. So let's make a chest. Okay, I've changed my mind. We are going to build the arm. More specifically, we are going to build the arm so it flexes nicely at the elbow. So let's extrude this down in Z, extrude it again in Z, and scale in Z. I made a example here. So we want to do this 2-loop geometry that meets at the elbow. And so we start off by making 4 loops and then an arm down here. So let's make that. So we will extrude. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will be the wide part of the arm. And since we're here, let's scale the arm down a bit. I don't have my keyboard, so I don't have a full numpad, so I can't select all these easily. So it's kind of torture. And I can't see. Okay, here we go. And this. So let's scale it so our arm's not too wide. Oops. Okay. Now let's build, well, let's do this too. These look a little boxy. And the back looks a little wide. Okay. So now let's build our elbow. So you can see here we've got 4 rows here and 4 rows there. and in between it's all deleted. So let's just go and do that. So pick 4 and 4 and delete. Whoops. Delete faces. Go to edge mode, point mode, and scale this. So you can see we just made this little curve there. And then we'll make this middle section. Like that. Scale it down a bit. Scale that down a bit. Then we'll fill in these little diamond shapes. F, and fill these all up, and then pull these forward. There. And then let's smooth it out a little bit. And we've got our basic geometry to have a nice bending elbow. Now let's line this up with our sketch, and we'll get that. Go to front view. Oops. Didn't get the elbow. Go to front view, and let's rotate this around our 3D cursor. Okay, scale it up a little bit. Now her elbow is in the middle of these, and her elbow should be around there. So let's move that. Around there. Okay. And then let's just get this bottom part. Let's see it scale up a little bit around itself. Extrude, scale, extrude, and scale. Let's make this a bit bigger. So we're just roughly getting this to match our sketch. So this is a little concave here. So let's pull it out. That's a little bit better. And maybe we need one more loop here. Maybe one there. So I think we now have enough basic geometry so we can sculpt this, this mesh to match our sketch. And then after we get it sculpted, we will go and put in the breast. I think we might need one more loop here, so let's see. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, it's finally time to put our creative hat on and start to sculpt this character in shape, because now we've got our mesh all the way we like it. So I do try, and you can see how some of the mesh is not even. So part of this sculpting is trying to get your mesh even. It's good to turn on your sub D on and off to see how it's going to look when you're doing your final renders. And it's great to be able to jump into edit mode to model the way edit mode models, or jumping back into sculpt mode to model that way. So it's a nice bit of flexibility that Blender has. Those loops or some edges on the back were not even or straight, and so it wouldn't hurt the model to make those straight, so I straightened them out. It just helps things later on down the road, like when you're UVing or other things. It's also good to go back and reference your sketch and your template to make sure you're in line with it. You do need to use your judgment, because sometimes the sketches are not accurate. So it's kind of a back and forth. You have it match your sketch, then you flip into 3D and make sure everything looks good there, and somewhat of a use your artistic sensibilities. So you can see here the neck was a little bit concave in one area, so I'm popping it out just a bit. I've always found this to be a very relaxing, almost zen-like part of the process. You'll see that neck was a little bit creased along the spine of the neck. When you use your smooth modifier, when you smooth in sculpt mode, I notice that it leaves the intersection between the two halves in place, and so it always makes a crease there, and so you have to go back and manually get it back in place. It's a little bit irritating. So here we are. It seemed like the shoulders were a little bit too small, and so we're popping it out to give it some more volume. This part of the process, since we're not totally following our template, it can be a little bit hard if you don't know your anatomy. And so one thing that has helped me in the past to be able to do this better is to take figure drawing classes. That helps a lot to just kind of get yourself used to how the human body looks. It's a different way of thinking, but it helps drawing from a live person. You start to absorb the body and the just different parts of the body. Another good thing to help your understanding of anatomy is to do some sculpting with clay. So they have classes where you can sculpt, or just doing it on your own. But that's a good way to kind of embed the human body in your mind and your understanding. Or you could, get a mirror and look at your face if you're doing the face to see how your face looks. Or you can also, I look at my body or my elbow a lot and see how it looks when it bends and so forth to model the characters, so that helps too. So it's somewhat of a merge between using your template and using your knowledge of anatomy. Yeah, so checking here to see how it looks with the sub D on, just to double check myself. One of the commenters on YouTube was saying that they thought this method of creating a character was interesting, because when they were sculpting on their machine, I guess they had a slower machine like I'm using right now, and the sculpting is really super, processor intensive. So this method is actually much lighter on the processor than sculpting, which is a bonus. This is actually a very old school method of creating characters, because it's the previous, before this, the sculpting part of this tutorial, all that constructing, it's very mechanical minded. It's thinking how to create the mesh efficiently, and it's not very conducive of being creative. And so the way people model or create characters now is they sculpt it, and it's a very artistic way. You can get great effects that way, and then you retopologize after you have your character the way you want it, and you sculpted it nicely. Then you retopologize to construct your geometry. So it's an extra step, but it can be better at truly being artistic and creating. This is somewhat of a hybrid. But because I've always liked this way of working, then I just stick with it. It works for me. I find that if you use quads, things tend to bend nicer. You don't always have to use them, but I find that it just helps things stretch. So I think we're done with our sculpting here. She feels like the sketch. So next we will give her a chest and some legs. Okay, let's take a look here. So I think she needs some abdominal muscles. So let's grab some of these. I to inset, and okay, so you see how it's coming in an island within 1/2? I don't want that, so let's turn off boundary. Okay, that's pretty good, but I want it smaller, so let's inset again. It remembers the last setting you had, so now I can make this as small as I want it. Let's define that area a bit. So we will pull this in, GY, just a little bit, and let's see how this looks with our sub D turned on. Okay, little funny, but I think we have enough geometry, so I'm going to leave that and we will sculpt it later. Let's see here. This back is still too sharp, so let's go to sculpt mode and hold down shift. So I have, oh, this computer is so slow. Sorry, I can't sculpt with this computer with the sub D turned on. So I'm turning that off, and now I'm going to smooth things out a bit. So holding shift and turn it back on. Pull that in a little bit here. I think her butt's a little bit funny. So I want this to flow across here, and I think this diamond shape face is messing things up, so let's delete that. As usual, we just delete the faces we don't like and some faces around it, and then rebuild it like we like it. So let's put that one there, and that will give us a nice flow. And then figure out how to close this hole. So I just hit F a couple times. Oh, that's not good. So let's cut it and try F again. That's good, and that's not good. So let's just cut it one more time. I could cut the leg. Well, let's see here. Could cut the leg. I guess 13 is not too bad, but I don't like odd numbers. And when you cut the leg, it makes the whole leg have more geometry. If you cut it right here, it's only 4 more polygons. So let's do that. And I think that's going to be good. And now we're not very even. I don't want to move that leg here, so let's move this forward. So move that forward a bit, move this forward a bit, and move that back a bit. Okay, that's pretty good. I think we might need one more cut there to add some definition to where the butt creases. Let's see here. Okay, so she's got a little bit of a crease in her butt. Okay. Okay, so we will right click to put our 3D cursor, Shift A, UV sphere, make the segments 16 and the rings 14. Scale this down. Rotate it X 90. Let's go to front view and roughly line up the breast with the sketch. So we want to make sure we don't cross the middle. So let's scale this down. And we want to try and match the sketch also. So that's roughly the same size. Let's check the side. Okay, so clearly the front and side sketches are not the same. So let's just split the difference like that. We will use our 3D cursor for this. So let's transform around the 3D cursor. And then we will move the 3D cursor to the middle of the sphere. So cursor to selected. Okay. And then we will turn on proportional editing and make this sharp. Okay. So edit mode, point mode. Grab the point right in the middle, that point right there. Okay, so I guess some strategy first. So you can see the sketch here, the bottom is concave and it's rounded and it goes into a crease where it meets the body. The top part is just smooth and gradual and kind of flows off the body. So we're going to try and make that shape with this sphere and then delete the back part that we don't need. So first we will, let's see, turn on proportional editing. We have sharp turned on. We will scale it in the Y and roll our mouse wheel until we get somewhat of a, you know, kind of a teardroppy shape. A and scale it back down so it's smaller. And then grab the point again and rotate it in the X. Playing with this until we get somewhat of a, you know, convex in the bottom and a little bit concave on the top. And then we will, let's see, let's take a look. Okay, it's really hard to evaluate like that because it's just a sticking on top there. So we will rotate it until it's roughly, until these loops are roughly parallel with the chest. And we'll do the same thing from the bottom, RZ, and get it roughly parallel. It's sticking out way too far, so let's pull it back till it's something like that. You know, something like that. These are very hard to sculpt, so I use the shape of the sphere and I try and leave it as much as possible. I'm tweaking it just enough to get it to blend with the body. Okay, so let's grab this, go to edge mode. So now we want to get all of these, let's see here. I'm gonna move it a bit forward. No, it's too much. Okay, so we want to pull these edges so they are just outside of the rib cage or the torso. But I want to also use this or these faces to shape the back part of the breast. So to do that, we need to pull this ring outside of the body. So I've got that selected. And I'll hit G twice. Well, let's turn off proportional editing. Hit G twice and pull it out so this edge is just outside. And then I will deselect the edges that connect to these 2 points because I know I want those. And you know what? Hold on, I take it back. We're not going to do that yet because I want to bring that whole ring outside of the body all the way out to here, but this ring and this ring is in the way. So we need to move all of those outside the body first. Make sure you've got them selected and then double hit G and pull them out and delete the ones that are okay. I mean unselect, deselect. Double hit G, so that's kind of okay. Missed one here. And then we will grab this row. This is okay. This one is too close. Double hit G again and pull it out. And deselect some and keep doing that until you have enough space for one more ring. Okay. I think that's okay. And then double hit G again. So I think these are both too close. So let's just turn on proportional editing. Let's turn on smooth. And let's just cheat and move the whole thing just a little bit forward. Okay. Now let's grab, now we're back to where we started. Let's grab this one here. These 2 points are okay, so we'll deselect that one and that one and that one and move all the rest. So double hit G and pull them out until that's okay. That's maybe a bit more. Okay. Then double hit G and pull them out again. Okay, and that's pretty good. Let's move this one forward. Oops. Just a bit. Okay, so we've now got this loop entirely outside the body. And so let's select the faces we don't want. X and delete faces. L, X, faces. Okay. So that's good. Oh, this point looks funny. So when you do this technique, the middle point gets pulled too far to the side, so just double hit G and pull it. You can see it snaps to any one of those lines, so just make sure you're pulling straight back towards the middle, almost to the dead center. Okay. So now we want to edit the body to fit the breast. So we'll go here and we're going to kind of try and do is get these to line up, if possible, with the edges of the breast, and then we will move them out. So this one's okay here, this point's okay, and we'll pull that out. Let's see. Okay, something like that. Then we will grab these. I think I need that one still. This one is probably okay. Move it up. And move that up. Maybe this goes a bit more. So we're just basically drawing a circle with the geometry that we currently have on the rib cage. So go to edge mode and grab that and that. And this one's okay here, but that point is not. And we'll pull this down. Okay, so we've got something like that. And these are, no, they're actually kind of far. So we can get them to be a bit closer. And it probably doesn't matter too much. Okay, that's good. So now we will delete the faces below the chest. And this is not matching too well. So let's see. If we were to match them, we'd see that's okay here. That's going to cause some problems. This lines up here. That can line up here. So we need maybe two more. Maybe two more edges. So let's add two and kind of line them up. Now, we don't really need that, but I think it's okay. Let's pull these out like we did the other ones. So we'll grab that. Yeah, grab those. Unselect that. Double hit G. Unselect that. Double hit G and just pull. Oops. Pull these out. And I think we need to get the point of this last one. Maybe these go down here. I don't really want to add one more cut there. I think it's too much. So let's dissolve that, and then let's attach it and just see what we can do. So now we will attach. So the thing about joining, you click, joining inherits the modifiers of whatever you click second. So if you click the breast here and shift click the body, it'll keep all of these modifiers. If you reverse it, click the body and click the breast, you inherit the modifiers of the breast, which is nothing. So let's see what that looks like. Body, breast, Control J, and it cuts in half and you lose all your smooth and everything. If you reverse it and click the breast, then the body, and Control J. Then you keep all of your modifiers and don't have to reassign them. Okay, so now we've got the breast attached. Let's just merge some points. If you remember the bottom of the sketch, in the sketch, the bottom of the breast has a crease, the top is smooth. So what we're going to do is pick the outer edge of the breast and then pick the body and then hit M and at first. So same thing, click, shift, clicked, M, we'll hit A to make it faster, click, shift, click, MA, click, shift, click, MA, and keep going around MA. This one, obviously we gotta fix it. Click, click, MA, click, click, MA. And then when we get more towards the top, it gets smoother and less gradual. So up here we will click the chest, then the edge of the breast here, and MA, and move it, blend it out towards the chest. And we're going to have to smooth this all out later. Let's just make sure we've got enough geometry. MA, let's move that more in line so we don't confuse ourselves. MA, move that back over here. Okay, so now we gotta close this hole on the side here. So let's see here. So let's delete that. Oops. X, don't dissolve, delete the face. So this face is important because it shapes the pectoral. So I want to make sure I keep that. So let's see here, what can we do? So let's delete these. And then merge edge mode and merge these two. Okay, and then let's close this up. Does that close nicely? Yep. We got a pull here, so I'm not sure if that's going to flow nicely. But let's keep working and see where we end up. So maybe we do add a cut here. Control R, and then FF. Okay, so that closes it up. It's a little more than we need back there. But it's not going to hurt things. It takes a little more processor. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure if that is going to look okay. So let's turn on our sub D and okay, it looks a little bit funny. So let's go back here and let's try and smooth it. So sculpt mode, hold shift to smooth these things down and just smooth it out. This whole top, you can see the sketch here, needs to be gradual like that. So let's just smooth it all out. Like that. Use our elastic tool that we already have selected and pull things up. I think I'm not, okay, it's all right. If you're not square to your surfaces that you're pulling, it sometimes pulls it weird, but I think it's okay. But right now, we're just pulling these to see if we have the correct geometry for our body here. So this is not to make it beautiful yet, it's just to verify we've got enough. So let's see here. Turn on our sub D. What's wrong with my mouse? What is going on here? Is it just popping out, or did I do something funny? Okay, it's just popping. I thought I had a double surface there or something, but I guess it's just popping out. So let's just smooth it. Like that. Check it again. Yes, I'm not pleased with that. I think maybe this, let's see, maybe this wants to connect to that. Maybe that flows better. To do that, delete these. Oh no, let's keep this because this forms the breast. So we'll delete that one, delete that one. And then how do we close this up here? We will, oops, see I hit F by accident. G here, hit F. It's no good. Go like that. Go like that. And then maybe add one more cut here. Okay, that's pretty good. Then we will grab this one here, merge it to that, MA. And then close this up and see if the polygons are nice to me, and they are. Okay, so let's see if this flows better. We got this closer to the shoulder. Turn smooth on. Okay, that is better. Let's see, this is too round. It's way too round on top, so I need to smooth all this, but I'm also losing my pectoral muscle. So let's go back in and bump that out a bit. And how will we do that? We will. This is the top of the pectoral, so let's pull it down and then pull it out. So we get more of a crisp, like overhang. Let's see here. Yeah, so this way it accentuates that deltoid muscle. It's a little better. And more deltoid. I mean, more pectoral. This is the deltoids here, pectorals over here. More pectoral. Let's make this match. And bring this in a bit more. Okay, so I feel like we can see the pectoral, but we got to smooth that chest all out. So let's go back to sculpt mode and shift over there. Smooth this out over here. Okay. I think the nook of the shoulder is too far in anyway, so let's just fix that while we're here and smooth it out. I might have bad geometry there. Let me see here. Go to edit mode and see. No? Okay. Maybe it's just too loose, too tight, so let's space things out a bit. Let's move this 3D cursor. So get that out of the way. Okay, I think that's okay. Let's see, where's our sketch? A little bit more, but it's rather tame. Let's see here. Yeah, it's still too sharp on top. Let's knock it back some more. Soften this some more. So let's pull this up even more. The whole thing needs to come down a bit. Maybe this goes up a bit. Okay, that's good. Let's check the stomach here. Her abdominals look a little bit goofy. I think we need to add a cut here, so let's go to edge mode and add a cut. And then we will scale the whole thing in towards the 3D cursor. X. Let's pull some of that in. Oops. GY, like that. And let's see here. Let's pull, this whole thing needs to, it's kind of coming out, it needs to come in. So let's pull that in. Maybe pull it out here. Pull that out, not that much. Then pull it in here. My computer is really lagging here, so it's messing me up. And we don't, she's like popping in the middle, so let's pull that back out again. This needs to flatten and smooth. Okay, that's a bit better, but now I screwed up her pelvis bone, so let's pull that back out again. Let's go into edit mode. pull these out. More like that. Okay, something like that. So there's some kind of crease going on around the chest area. So let's fix that. So I think what's going on, if we turn on, if you go to overlays and face orientation. Okay. So I don't know how, but when I merged the breast to the body, it got flipped. And that's obviously not what we want. So let's select these faces, go to edit mode, faces, and we will control click. I don't have my full keyboard right now, so let's go to, otherwise you could hit plus. So we will go to select M and M. And get all of these faces. Okay, so according to my calculations, if we go to mesh, duplicate, split, merge, bisect, normals, and flip, it should fix it. Let's see. Oh, I can't see. Okay, that was it. Great. Okay, so let's build a leg. So let's turn this off, go to edit mode and edge mode and grab that. So I'll just kind of blaze through it here. Like that. Go to front view, extrude to say here. Okay. We want to build a bendable knee like we did for the elbow. So let's extrude one more time to get above the knee. Okay, like that. Let's check our side view. Come in a bit. And now we will make our geometry for our knee. So remember there are four loops, and that's what we build the knee with. So we will extrude one, extrude. I think that should be further. Extrude here, scale it in a bit, scale it wider a bit. Okay, extrude another one here. It's kind of like the middle of the knee. Come in a bit. Check the side. I think since this whole knee is bent forward, I'm going to rotate this so it's parallel with that. Okay. Let's go to the front view again. It's 1, 2, 3. Need a third one here. Oops. And then one more for the knee. Extrude like something like that. I think it comes in a bit and back a bit. Scale it wider. And then we will extrude down to make the calf. Okay. Let's just go all the way here. So let's just make this. Check our side view. So if I had my full keyboard, I could just hit hotkeys and switch back and forth, but I don't, so we are doing this very painfully using the GUI. Just like that. Horrible. Okay, one more. Let's rotate a bit, scale it in a bit, and check our side. G, Y, scale, Y. And I think scale this a bit, move it back. And this one needs to scale down. Okay, so we'll fix the rest later. Let's build our knee. So we grab, face mode, grab 4 faces on either side of the center line of our leg or knee. X faces, edge mode, and merge, edge mode and merge. Control R and get 3 in here. Oh, sorry. F and then Control R and get 3 in there. Scale it in some and then grab just the middle. What? Okay, scale it in more. Then go to point mode, F, F, edge mode, F, 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 and that. Point mode again, grab these 2, pull that back, and we have a working knee. Let's go to Sculpt mode and smooth it out a little bit here. So Shift and just smooth it out. Maybe not that much. And then let's see here. I think we need to pull it in a bit back here. Check the front. Our knee looks a little bit small, so let's pull it out a bit. Knees are, wider than elbows, so let's widen that up. And I think that's, I think that's going to be enough for now. We'll later on down the road, we'll fix all this stuff and sculpt it to make it all look perfect. Let's check this out and see if we have all the geometry. Okay, so that's it for this video. Next up, we will do the hands and the feet. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more content like this, please let me know in the comments below, subscribe, or even better yet, support me on Patreon. Thank you. Bye-bye.